Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is Where Are They Now?, where I take a look at the last 5 years of board games I've played, talking about the various games I've played in February 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and yes, you guessed it, 2023. Time goes by. And by the way, the past 5 years, just because it's all I have logged plays for, although eventually we'll be able to get to 6 years, although I don't know. When I first started doing this revised version of Where Are They Now? Where Are They Now first started as a segment of me taking a look at reviews that I had done a year ago and talking about how my opinions had changed. Most of the time, my opinions hadn't changed. At any given point, if I review 15, 20 games and only a few of them stay in my collection, the ones that left, my opinion is not going to change much on a game I haven't played, so I started redoing the series as games I've played 5 years ago, and this has a general more of an overlap of actual evolution over time. And someone predicted at the time, they said, we'll wait a year and see if this video series stays the way it is, and they're right. This video series won't stay the way it is. I don't know exactly what it will change to, but I think once I've gone through a full year of doing it this way and have therefore like a full 5-year history of the games I've played to a degree, I'll have to figure out some way of reapproaching it. Although I do want to keep it. You see, the point of the Where Are They Now series is the idea that tastes change over time, games change over time, and you do get glimpses of that in other videos on the channel. You get glimpses of it in my top 10 my top 10 list and my top 100 list. In fact, the fact that games change over time has been a point of contention in my top 100 lists. But you also have then the games leaving the collections. You have then a variety of different things. You get that kind of sense of things changing over time. But I guess I want kind of look back of let's look at something 5 years ago and see how things changed from there to now. So I will be reapproaching this at some point. I probably have a few more left in this particular way it's being done before I move to that new format, but we'll keep an eye on things and we'll see what else goes on. But I do want to keep some version of that kind of point of time versus point of time look and see how things go. Anyways, where are they now? Let's go ahead and start off with February of 2019. February 19, 2019, I have a bunch of games I have here that I don't have any of them in my collection. Well, not none of the games ever, but none of the new to me games from February 2019 are still here. We have Vikings Gone Wild, which is actually, I think, the first Lucky Duck game I've played, if I'm not mistaken. That was Lucky Duck's one of their first Kickstarter games. They took an app, they made it into a board game, which has been a thing for them in general, but they grew so rapidly as a company. Like, where they were back when Vikings Gone Wild versus where they are now, they are miles and away different entities. But Vikings Gone Wild was a game that I played once and then moved on from. I didn't feel the need to keep playing it. It wasn't a bad game, it's just there's so many great games, it was an okay game and I moved on from it. Then we have Spring Meadow from Uwe Rosenberg. This one I actually held on to for quite some time. Spring Meadow is part of the Cottage Garden series. Well, Spring Meadow, Cottage Garden, and Fall something? Fall... Darn it. Either way, those 3 games. There's 3 in this games of the series of polyomino, garden-themed nature games, whatever it is. Fall Flavors? No, that's not what it is. This is going to bother me. Spring Meadow, Cottage Garden, Under Falling Leaves? Under Falling Skies? That's a different game. I have no clue. What it is. There's a 3rd game. Anyway, Spring Meadow, I enjoyed all these games, kept them for a while, then eventually realized that I was playing other polyomino games. They are great. They are very solid games. I just have a limited bandwidth of any genre of game, and I was getting too bloated with polyomino games. Even nowadays, I just got rid of World Wonders for the same reason, because... Oh, wait, you don't know yet I'm getting rid of Wonders. I'm getting rid of World Wonders. There's a bunch of games. You see, I filmed these games leaving the collection videos a week or 2 in advance, so there's games leaving the collection, and includes World Wonders. But anyways, polyomino games are great. I have so many great ones, they can't all stick around. Menara was a fun little one that's I guess it is based on, it's similar to Villa Paletti, but more intricate. I enjoyed playing that with my kids for, I don't know, some period of time. I had Menara. It's basically a stacking game where you kind of draw a card, you have to put certain things down in the right colors, and it's kind of it's a stacking game where things all come falling down and collapse on you in this interesting game. It's a little bit more gamified. I have enjoyed it. I had it for maybe 6 months to a year, but eventually moved on from it. Nothing wrong with it. For me, it was never a game that I loved. I got it to play with my kids. They enjoy that style of game. I think Villa Paletti is more straightforward and direct, so we still have Villa Paletti, but we got rid of Menara. Stuffed Fables is one that I had in my collection for maybe 2 years. I started playing that with my kids. I never loved Stuffed Fables. Forget that. I barely even liked Stuffed Fables. Although, to be fair, whenever I play games with my kids, some games are elevated by playing with my kids. Others are dragged down. I think Stuffed Fables for me might have been a game that got dragged down by playing with my kids. The nature of trying to control the enough things going on there while trying to ensure we actually moving forward properly in the game, it definitely took away from my experience. So I don't want to really rate Stuffed Fables. I will say I didn't enjoy it, but that's based on the way I experienced it, which I don't think is the desired way to experience it. Maybe, I don't know. But ultimately, Stuffed Fables didn't work for me, but I had it for a year or 2 because I played it with my kids and we had kept on going through it. I don't think we ever finished it in the end, but we got most of the way through on Stuffed Fables. But again, I don't know if it's a good game or not. It's a well-liked game. For me, it was definitely not going to be a well-liked game. That brings us to 2020. In February 2020, we played the following. We have Architects of the West Kingdom. I've had a fraught history with that game for a long time. I enjoyed Architects the first time I played it, but it kind of got stale for me very quickly as I continued to play through it. Over the years, I tried getting it back. I tried getting it back at one point with the expansion because I heard the expansion made it better. Played the expansion, didn't make it better for me. I do like Architects. I think it's a fine game, but to me it's a 3.5 out of 5, when to the rest of the world it's a 4.5 or a 5. It's a well-loved game, and for me it's like, it's good. I love the capturing mechanism. That's not true. Not the capturing mechanism. I love the increased strength of your workers mechanism combined with the capturing mechanism. The rest of the game around it, though, I don't know if I particularly care for. So that's Architects. It's not, again, not bad. I love certain concepts of it, and the rest of it is just okay to me. We have Watergate. Oh, and then I've tried playing it, like, you know, when I went on Board Game Arena, I tried playing it again and still felt the exact same way. We have Watergate. Watergate would be a from Tanares Gamer and Capstone Games. Love this game. It's still here. Most of the games I'm going to go over today are not here anymore, but Watergate is still going strong. I played this, I think, for the first time in February 2020, or maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know, but it's definitely one that's going strong. I love it. I do not get sick or bored of this game at all. It's absolutely fantastic. We have Sorcerer City from Sky Kingdom Games, or maybe Skybound. I don't remember who owns what at what point, but I enjoy Sorcerer City. It's a real-time phases tile laying game where you're trying to rapidly lay your tiles to be able to create certain patterns and whatnot. It's got a fun scoring mechanism. I think it's a fun game. It's one of those games that I wish I had more time for. It's a 3.5 out of 5, arguably even a 4. I don't know. I really like Sorcerer City. No, I'm gonna stick with 3.5. I'm gonna stick with the 3.5. I think it's a good game. I enjoy it. I don't feel I need to keep it or hold on to it. But I had it for my collection for maybe 6 months. I kept it for long enough because I do enjoy what the game does. We have Mezo. Mezo from Colossal Games, I want to say. That one caught me on Kickstarter because of the nature of it being like a kind of a Blood Rage adjacent. Look, almost like a combination of Blood Rage and some other game. I don't know. Blood Rage and something else. Rising Sun, maybe. Looked like a combination of them. I liked Mezo. I thought it was a fine game, but I didn't love Mezo, and I have so many of these other giant area control games. That's one that didn't last long. I gave it a few plays and then got rid of it. I think it's good. Not great. The Isle of Cats, another game that did not hook me. Another game I was very passionate about. This was a polyomino game. I was like, I must get Isle of Cats, and then I got it, and I held on to it for years, hoping it would maybe change my mind, but it never really did. To me, Isle of Cats is a very fun system that ultimately the drafting feels anticlimactic, and that's almost like, it almost makes me like the game less. Like, don't give me drafting and then make me not even care about the cards I'm drafting, or rarely care about the cards I'm drafting. So Isle of Cats for me was a miss. I know it's a very popular game. I think it's in the top 100 on Board Game Geek. Very happy for them. For me, it was a miss. I do love Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. I think that distills the best parts of Isle of Cats and takes away all the fluff and gives you a quicker experience. It's interesting though, because there are expansions to Isle of Cats that I do wish I could incorporate more, but the whole package is just too much for me. It doesn't give me enough of what I like relative to the whole entire bundle of what it does give you. But again, had it in my collection for years. I definitely gave it enough time hoping it would last or work for me. Which brings us to 2021. February 2021, we have Bloodstone, which doesn't exist yet. This is not Bloodstones by Martin Wallace. This is Bloodstone by, well, previously Skybound, but now not Sky. Did I say Sky Kingdom earlier? It's Skybound and Druid City. Sky Kingdom is Isofarian Guard. Whole different conversation. Anyways, going back to Bloodstone. Bloodstone is a game that I really enjoyed, and I still want to keep playing it. I just don't know when it's coming back to Kickstarter. Someday it'll come back to Kickstarter. Until then, I'll just keep waiting for it. Although I don't even know. Will I still even like it? Like, at the time I played Bloodstone, I had Super Fantasy Brawl, and at the time I still prefer Super Fantasy Brawl, but they're both great. Give it fast forward a few years, I got rid of Super Fantasy Brawl. I thought the characters felt samey enough over time, and as much as I still think well of it, I just don't have the bandwidth for every game ever, so it's gone. Versus Bloodstone, I don't know. I remember liking Bloodstone, but again, any game is good for a certain number of plays. Like Super Fantasy Brawl is a game I've played, 15, 20 times, I don't know, which is not an absolute ton, but it's enough that I got my time with it. I enjoyed the experience, and Bloodstone I have not gotten to that point yet, so I am curious on how Bloodstone will hold up for me. For right now, I'm still interested in it, it just doesn't exist. We have Nidavellir, which I liked, had for many years, had for like 3-4 years, and I guess if it's 2021, had for 3 years-ish, and then I got rid of it. I thought Nidavellir is very good. I've enjoyed the expansions. I played the first expansion, not the second one. Nidavellir gives you a fascinating coin bidding game. It's coin building or bid building, whatever it is. Very well done game. Always happy to play it. Ultimately didn't feel the need to eventually hold on to and keep it over time. It was a 4 to 5 for me. It may have gone, no, I think it's so tricky. I keep talking about this in various reviews. My collection is growing constantly, and new games that I love are constantly coming in, which means new games I really like and appreciate do have to move out. I think Nidavellir is a 4 to 5. I'm going to hold on to that rating. I think it's a good game that I just 4 to 5s are not as safe as they once used to be, and that's where we are today. That is going to be Nidavellir. From there, we have Zombicide 2nd Edition. Zombicide Second Edition was a miss for me, despite giving it, like, I don't know, 20 plays. Like, I played through the first campaign, plus a bunch of solo scenarios or whatever it is, so I enjoy Zombicide Second Edition. It's fine, but it's not good compared to the Zombicide genre for me. It is a game that I kept trying to make it harder, and I could not lose. This is a problem I experienced with Invader, and I think Zombicide Second Edition was worse. I liked aspects of it. I like the campaign concept. There are many things about Zombicide Second Edition that I like the concept of, but the theme is my least favorite Zombicide. The difficulty was absolutely not there, and so ultimately it was easy to get rid of and move on to it and focus on better things. Like, I got rid of Zombicide Undead or Alive at this point, and that one was much harder for me to get rid of because that's a good game. But anyways, that's going to be Zombicide, so Zombicide Second Edition specifically. We have Truffle Shuffle, a game that is still here. Is it on the table? No, it's on the shelf over there. Truffle Shuffle is still here, still holding strong. It's a fun little, like, you build a little pyramid of chocolate cards and then try to draft these cards. It's from AEG. It's a fast, fun game. It's more family friendly. It's not a game I would own personally, but it's a game that I am happy to play with my family and enjoy playing it. So that's Truffle Shuffle, still doing just fine. And then lastly, we have Wild Assent. Played this for the first time in 2021. It took a long time for it to get here, but eventually it did show up. Wild Assent from 2021, and I like it. I still love the game. It's still holding... Honestly, I should have pulled that on the table. That's behind me on one of these shelves over here. But Wild Ascent, to me, is still fantastic. I still think it's a great game. I still enjoy the campaign aspect, the capturing various creatures, the going out in the wild, the building up your encampment, the growing your seekers, recruiting more hunters, everything. To me, it is a Kingdom Death Monster light experience. Not that I've played Kingdom Death Monster, but I've heard people who have played Kingdom Death Monster comparing it to that, and I like the theme a lot more. I like the fact that it's 10 short missions, very accessible, very easy to play. I like it a lot. I will say, if you're someone who played it, I acknowledge the rulebook's not the best, and I do think it gets better over your first 2 or 3 plays. So if you only play the first scenario, I don't think you're getting the experience. First scenario in, I was kind of like, I don't know if this is for me. Second scenario is more hooked because you're starting to build up your encampment. And by the third scenario, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for building up my characters, trying to unlock abilities, and having that growth and iteration across the course of the game. I'm looking forward to Levon Rising if or when it shows up. I say if. I do think Lazy Squad Games is good for their games, but I don't know if that's hopeless optimism, sticking my head in the sand. I don't know what it is, or just me liking the games, or even the people behind it. It's always complicated liking people behind delayed games because you're like, hey, I like you, but also the people are upset at you. What do you do with that? And again, I've been in the position where people are upset at me, so I have sympathy for that. There's a weird line between... Oh, this is going to be a tangent. There's a weird line between when people are doing... There's a weird point in which people are... The level of neglect or not fulfilling your responsibilities gets to be, like, really problematic versus when it's just irresponsible and don't engage in business with those people, but they're still fine. And I haven't figured out what that line is. Like, Mythic Games is a whole different conversation around where is the line between neglect to the point that you are now a bad person, although I hate using the term bad person in general. I like judging actions, not people. Actions can be bad, people are complicated. Lord knows you and I have done things that we should not be proud of, and I just hope that when you judge others, you're mindful of how your actions could be construed and how you could be judged, and you have that grace. And the grace never means you should ever give anyone any leeway on their actions, and it always means you should still protect yourself. But it's just like, think of the things you've done in your life that you wish others you didn't know about or didn't find out or that you weren't publicly castigated for, and then just treat others with that level of grace. It doesn't mean you let people off the hook at all. That's not what it is. It just means trying to define the line between judging and action. The actions are wrong. I won't do business with you, but then also... I give you grace because you're a human being who screws up no differently than I do. Also, sorry, Wild Ascent, for Lazy Squad Games for lumping you in the same conversation as Mythic, although there are some who would say that's fair. I don't know yet, and I guess we'll find out. Anyways, tangent aside, let's move on. We have 2022, February 2022, we have Wreckland Run, which is on the table over here. Another one that is leaving in that same video that you watch World Wonders leave. You're going to see Wreckland Run leaving. It's a good game. It's a good game. I just don't have time for all the good games, and so it's unfortunately going. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I would rather play Under Falling Skies in that genre, and I don't play this type of solo game as much as I used to, and like between 20 Strong, between Under Falling Skies, between a handful of others, I think I'm covered on the main ones I'm going to pull out and play, so I'm sad to see this go. It is what it is. I'm sad to see it go, but it's a good game. But anyways, Kingdoms Forlorn. I played in 2022, Kingdoms Forlorn, a review that I even filmed that has never gone up on the channel. It will one day. I don't know when, I don't know why. At some point, I will put up my review for Kingdoms Forlorn, because I reviewed the prototype, and then they canceled the campaign that day, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Put up a video for a canceled campaign? Like, do I care? And so I held on to it. Maybe it would be picked up by another company. Who knows? I don't know. But Kingdoms Forlorn was great. It was really solid as far as the immersion the game brought you, and I'm sad it's not coming to life. At some point, in some way, whether on Patreon or Ko-Fi or whatever, or whether on the general YouTube channel, I will put that video up. I'll save it for a rainy day. I'll be like, hey, here's a review for a game that's never being made, but I filmed a video for. Again, the fun parts of being a YouTuber, the fun parts of being a content creator is I had to learn that game, I got to play that game, I had to film that game, edit that video. I did not get paid for any of that, and the video never saw the light of day because they canceled the campaign. These kinds of things are present, and that's also present when I hate a game. Like the amount of time I spend learning long games. Like I have read 70-page rulebooks and then played a session and then told the creator, hey, I'm not interested in playing this game enough to review it, so sorry for that. Meanwhile, I'm like 10, 15 hours in the hole for actually having to learn and play that thing and get nothing out of it. Don't get me wrong, I love what I do. It's still a job. It's still a job even though I love what I do. I'm grateful for what I do and I would not choose anything else. I took a pay cut to be here, but it is still a job with some of its less fun moments present. Anyways, that's Kingdoms Forlorn. We also have Earth. I played Earth way back in 2022 before it actually, landed because I played the prototype. I enjoyed Earth. I always thought Earth was a fun game, but I was not prepared for how well received the game would be. I still am confused. Like, to me, I really enjoy Earth. I like it. I recommend it, but like, it's one of those weird things where people like it so much more than me that I almost have like a pullback of like, wow, I don't like it that much, so like I don't really like you, even though I do like you, I just don't like it up to here. But anyways, I like Earth, I enjoy Earth, I'm happy to play Earth, and I'll play more Earth at some point, but I don't own it in my collection. I traded it for a game I wanted, and I was torn, because I did want Earth, but I wasn't sure. I have so many of these games that I enjoy in that genre of what the game is doing, that like now with Wormspan added to the mix, and I like Wormspan too, but will I pick Wormspan over Everdell? I don't know. I had the same problem with Earth. Will I pick Earth over Everdell? Whenever it comes to these tableau-laying games with lots of cards and things, I'm going to look at my favorite games, look at my Vindications, my Expeditions, my Everdells, my any number of other games that I love, and then that leaves me torn on some of these. I have Raising Robots, which is another great one. So many great games, not nearly enough time. We have Bear Raid. Bear Raid I played. I enjoyed Bear Raid. It is one that I thought would replace Stockpile in my collection, but Stockpile is still here, although I don't know if Stockpile will be here forever. I find I don't play Stockpile as much as I used to way back when I first got it, but yeah, I still have Bear Raid. No, I still have Stockpile. I thought Bear Raid would replace Stockpile. I found Bear Raid ended up being a bit more complicated to teach. Stockpile is a little easier to pick up and play, and that discrepancy made it so that even though I like both, and they both fall into that stock-taking game that gives you a fun, light, accessible stock-taking game for very low player counts, ultimately Stockpile I think is not as good as Bear Raid, but it's more intuitive to teach, and for the lightness of the game, I find I picked that one more. So Bear Raid did eventually leave, like 6 months later. We have Beyond the Sun, which I played for the first time in 2022, and then had a resurgence of playing it in 2023. I played it in 2022 because I had a review copy, and then I just proceeded to not play it for like 6 months, or more than that, maybe even a year, and then in 2023 I dove into it heavily to really get more plays in and review it. I want to play with the expansion. I actually got rid of Beyond the Sun, but not because I don't like it. I like Beyond the Sun a lot, but it is on BGA, or is it BGA? I think it's on BGA. It's on one of these sites that I play games on, which is probably BGA, and I do play it a lot there, and I find that, again, just in that category of trying to juggle what stays on my shelves versus what not, I was like, you know what, I play it on BGA, I'll enjoy it there. I don't know how that will fare over time. I don't know. Like, I kind of want, as that Level Up Retreat, and we have my copy of Beyond the Sun plus an expansion, and I was like, well, now I kind of want, like, what do I do now? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I want it all, and I have to make hard choices. So hard choices are being made, and anyways, I want Beyond the Sun back because I want to play with the expansion, but I probably shouldn't get it back. That's a different story for another time. Which brings us to 2023. In 2023, I have 4 games there for you. We have an Age Contrived. I don't know why I'm talking about that one, because whenever I'm looking at the more recent year, it's always harder, because a lot of what I play are prototypes, and so sometimes I don't have the opportunity to talk about how my tastes have changed since then. Age Contrived is a very convoluted game that all comes together in the end. I enjoy it a lot. I do have a copy coming my way, but a review copy, but it's hard to say how I feel about that one, because I like the game a lot, I just don't want to teach it, which, by the way, I don't know, but I don't know when the reviews all go up, but I feel I've said, like, there's been like 4 or 5 games recently where I'm like, there's a lot to learn, but it's worth the payoff, or not worth the payoff, it depends. There's been a bunch of games that I've been focusing on the lot to learn part, and I don't know if it's the types of games I'm taking on, or maybe I'm just getting old in my old age. Something I've seen over time. I've seen this with, with Eric Lang, I've seen this with Tom Vassell, where there's sometimes over time, if you spend enough time in the gaming space, you tend to have a bit of a shift, depending on who you are. Maybe you have to be a prolific person who plays a lot of games, but there tends to be an instinctive shift towards, I just want things simple, and I don't want them to be overly complicated. Give me a game I can teach in 15 minutes instead of 45 minutes. And I'm there. I'm already there. But the games that are 45 minutes to teach, they just have to be that much better. Sankori is a 5 out of 5 to me. I love that game, but I complained about the teach to no end. And it's a lot of a teach. I taught it at Level Up Retreat, and I was like, I taught this game to play with people for half a game who are then gone, because we had to end early because the person whose copy as it was leaving. But it's a beast of a teach. But anyways, the point is that I'm still here for the right game being worth that build-up. Galactic Cruise is another one, by the way. That's also a beast of a teach, but the game's a good game, so, like, what do you do? And I like it a little bit less than Sankori, but I do like it a lot, so I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Ultimately, I just go with what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking, and I tell you, like, if a game, there are games that come in and out, and there are games where you have to rely on my ratings and hope that you trust what I say. But then there's games that stick around, because at the end of the day, the one thing you can trust with my content is that I don't keep games I'm not interested in. I just don't. So the games that continue to show up, that I continue to talk about, that I continue to be in, like you can debate whether a 3.5 should have been a 3 or a 4. You can debate that from today to tomorrow. And I hear it's hard to rate a game objectively and try to take into account all the various influences in life. I think it's complicated. But you know what I can't debate? The games that get played. The games that I own, that get played, that continue to see table time. The Expeditions, the DEIs, the Sankoris, all these games that I managed to table again and again and again. And I'm like, I am here for it. Castles of Burgundy with 87 plays last year, and I'm already like 20 plays into it this year alone. Like, there are games that I adore. And then there's games I like to varying degrees, and that's more complicated. Anyways, my point is that some games are worth to teach, some games are not, and Age Contrived is definitely a good game, but I don't know if it's worth to teach for me. That's the complicated part. It wasn't an intuitive game. We have DEI. Speaking of DEI, we have DEI, Divide Et Impera. I played it in 2023, not for the first time, but possibly the first time since getting my copy, I believe it was, since covering it during the prototype phase. So, half covering it. It's a longer story. I didn't really cover the game during the prototype phase. I did play it on TTS later, and then talked about why I didn't back it video, which I then proceeded to back it. If you've been watching the channel long enough, you know that whole story. Anyways, past that, we have DEI, though. DEI, which is a great game. I'm loving DEI. I'm happy to table it. I love it. There's an ongoing tournament, or coming up soon tournament, over on BGA, in case you're interested in it. I will not be joining it. I don't like DEI and BGA. I like DEI in person. That's not like just the type of game it is. Digitally, I don't find I'm grokking what's going on as much. But I think DEI is fantastic. I love it, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. We have Arena of the Countess. Arena of the Countess, so I played Tanares Adventures way back when, or other way around. I played Arena of the Countess way back when. I played Tanares Adventures for the first time in 2023. I think it's a good game. I think it's a very good game. I've been playing through it. I'm overdue on some of the... I was doing a whole campaign playthrough, and I kind of half stopped doing it, which I really need to get caught up on. But yeah, I think Arena of the Contest is a phenomenal game. I really enjoy playing through it. Tanares Adventures. I think Tanares Adventures is a phenomenal game. I really enjoy playing through it. I am having that campaign fatigue aspect, which is a whole different conversation. I've talked about this in other videos with the whole Gloomhaven thing. I think some games hold up to repeated and consistent exposure, and some games don't. And I think it is person by person. That's the nature of reviews. They are opinions based on that person. For me, some games, I love it when I play those games, and others I find that it's a bit more of a chore to power through it. Campaign games in general, I find the shorter the campaign game, the more likely I will not be burnt out in it. Wild Assent gives me 10 games at a time. Arena of the Contest wants me to play through hundreds of hours of content to get to the end of it. Gloomhaven wants to play through hundreds of hours of content. So yeah, those games haven't experienced the burn of the pressure to get through them. I find legacy games that give you 15 games or so tops, somewhere in that range. This is just a better number for me personally, and what my level of interest and investment is in a game. Then lastly, we have 20 Strong. Still enjoying this one. Excited for Tanglewood. Tanglewood is going to be coming up soon over on GameFound. Chip 3 Games launching the next line of these little pocket games. I really enjoy them. They are a little bit rules fiddly. I wish, Chip Theory, you got to rewrite the rules for these games. I know how to play them, and I have to reference them every single time, and they are not the easiest to pick up and go through, so I don't know. Chip Theory, I've never found their rules to be the best. They have better games, they have worse games. I've never found the rules to be the best. That's true for 20 Strong, but I do like the games. I like all these games. They're fun little solo puzzles to go through. And like I said, I'm getting rid of games like Wreckland Run because I am playing through 20 Strong, still enjoying those ones more. And that's what we have for our Where Are They Now for the past 5 years. Games as far as where they've shifted over time, how long they stuck around, where did they go, why did they go, all of that. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.